Hey everybody, it's Christine up today with the Scrap Room, and this time I am working with the Double Shot kit, which is a new kit for me to be working with. This is my first month designing with it, and that is just a kit that comes with 2 sets of patterned papers, some cardstock, and some embellishments. So kind of like the Flavors of the Month kit, but it helps you get a quick start on just a couple of them. So it could be in addition to your Flavors of the Month kit, it could be a separate one. Obviously with only 2 in there, it's a little bit cheaper, but it just adds an extra little bit of fun to your month. So if you like this, be sure to check that out. Carrying on, I'm working with the Splash Zone collection from Bella Boulevard, and you can see I've got this beautiful blue cardstock in my background, and what I'm doing right now is I am building a block. What a block is something that a lot of us like to start with, where we put together a bunch of pictures and patterned papers, and this just a block that's going to set down onto the base of your layout and build it up. So I have 4 photos here. And you can see I've also got some pieces that are cut apart cards. So that sunshine cloud part that you see up at the top there is actually from a cut apart card. And I decided to build that into my block. So it's a little bit complicated putting this together just because I don't have a full size paper underneath it yet. But you just kind of put adhesive where you know it's going to stick and build from there. And honestly, it's not an approach I use a ton, but it is a really good approach to use when you're using multi-photos. And this is something that Wendy Antonucci uses a lot. So I'll link you up to her down below, because if this approach appeals to you, you can definitely catch more from her on that. So now I've got my block ready, so I am going to figure out where I actually want it on my layout. You can see I added some of that green patterned paper to my background, and I put that on horizontally. I am going to actually add my block on here at a slant. So I've already got my pictures kind of askew. I've got my cut apart pieces kind of askew. And so I'm trying to decide, do I want to try and straighten things, or do I just want to go full on crooked? In the end, I'm going to just embrace things being a little bit slanted. I've got in addition to everything like I've placed at an angle, my son is at a lot of weird angles and stuff. And so it just kind of works for this kind of a layout. I'm going to add that 4th picture on there with some 3D foam adhesives so that it pops up, and you can see I actually matted that one with a little bit of blue also to make that one really pop up. I'm also going to add a title. The title did not come in the page kit. Sometimes you do have stuff you can make a title with for Scrap Room kits, and sometimes you have to pull from your stash. In this case, I pulled from my stash, and that is just an acrylic piece that it is part of the Splash Zone collection, so it did work perfectly. I just pulled it from my own stash instead. Now, you can see I ultimately decided to flip that green patterned paper to be vertical instead of horizontal, because I felt like I was getting too many different directions going, particularly with wanting to kind of offset the pictures so that they weren't straight on. The next thing I'm going to do is I am going to add what looks like some big drops of water. All I did to create these was just cut. I took the 2 different patterned papers, this one that's kind of more of a turquoisey blue and that one that's more of a royal blue with the fishes, and I just cut out water drops, approximately the same size, but didn't worry too much about perfection on this. Now, could have gone to my cutting machine for this, for sure, and cut some out. However, I didn't have to. And that's an example of when, you don't have a cutting machine, it's okay. You can still make it work. Now, I'm going to add on my final embellishments, but one of the things you're seeing from this layout today is a lot of shifts and changes. That is very normal for me. I just don't always show it on camera because I don't want you to be bored out of your mind. But I do want you to see, like, every design doesn't just come together lickety-split. That was definitely the case with this one. I I liked the direction, but I had to get convinced that it was exactly what I wanted to do. So you can see I took those circles that you saw a moment ago away, and now I'm adding on some other embellishments. I've got those hearts, I've got some little banners, I added in some chipboard down on the bottom right side. And now I'm going to finalize things with just some Nuvo drops in a bright golden yellow color. They are just a perfect accent again for this. Instead of having to try and find enamel dots, I just pulled these out, and that way I have whatever size I want. Now, again, here I'm debating, do I want to line my drops with them? How do I want to place these exactly? And one of the things I do like about Nuvo drops is that if you catch them quick and you're not happy with the placement, you can very carefully remove them most of the time. But that has to be like in the first few minutes of putting them down. And so you're going to see me do just that in a minute here, which I've never done on camera before. But I want you to see it is possible. You just have to be careful about it. And this, like I just wasn't real happy with the ones I have there that are, it was just a little bit too exact for how this layout is. This layout does not have much exactness going on. So I'm just going to adjust and be a little more sporadic with my placement on those. And there you have it. Pretty straightforward layout with multiple photos and using the fabulous Splash Zone collection from Bella Boulevard. Thanks for joining me today. We'll see you again next time.